blir det så. Tjena Blomman. Hur går det? Hinner du hem till 8? Jaha, ja men det är gött. Eh, jag har skickat länken också så det är bara att gå in och anmäla sig. Och sen, eh, jag skickar ju en länk så det är bara att klicka på den tror jag så kommer du till rätt sida. Ja, på Messenger. Och sen tror jag man måste gå med i vår fanclub på chess.com och så kommer tävlingen upp automatiskt. Så det ska inte vara så svårt. Alltså klydda någonting så bara säg till. Det är bra om du anmäler dig. Mm. Jaha. Ehm, jo, men annars kan jag skicka mail eller någonting. Det är egentligen bara att skriva av länken. Så, ja. Vi är redan uppe i 10 personer och det är rätt mycket kvar. Så det är gött om du och Nisse går in och anmäler er tidigt också. Men han kan ju gå in på antingen schack.se eller på vår Facebook. Har han Facebook eller ja, internet borde han ha. Jaha, nej det öppnar bara nu en timme innan. Så man kan inte anmäla sig när man vill utan det är bara sista timmen. Så nu är det 40 minuter kvar att anmäla sig. Så, ja. Och så skicka till Erik också att han kan gå in via länken. Ja, ja men det är gött. Och klydda något så är det bara att ringa eller skriva i Messenger så kommer jag vara med hela tiden nu. Jag kommer starta sändningen kanske 9:15 och börja gå igenom startfältet och lite så. Men det verkar ändå bli schysst uppslutning. Vi är över 10, var det 11 nu tror jag. Och du, Nisse och typ ingen från vårt lag har anmält sig, bara jag. En och en halv timme. Och 21:30 då bara stoppas det. Ja, och det kommer vara start var 5:e minut ungefär tror jag. 5:e, 6:e, något sånt. Det är ju bullet, 2+1 så man kan inte förlora på tid heller. Japp. Ja men det är gött. Då ja, ser jag dig på listan snart. Och lycka till. Ja. Jo, jag kommer spela tänkte jag. Jag funderar först på om jag bara skulle sända eller om jag skulle spela. Men jag har anmält mig så kanske jag plockar bort anmälan. Jag får se hur det blir. Alltså blir det jättestarkt fält och jättemycket spelare så kanske det är bättre att fokusera på sändningen. Än att folk ska följa mina matcher. Ja men gött. Ha det bra så länge så... Ja, okej. Kör så länge. Det gör vi. Hej. Vi ses, vi ses lite senare. Hi everybody, we are soon going live with our first arena tournament for the Malmö Vikings. Sorry for that, had a double sound on and I'm back. We have been following the Fisher Random World Championship for a little while, but will any moment start our own first arena tournament of the Vikings. The field is very interesting for the moment. We're up on about 30 players with a couple of grandmasters and a couple of international masters. I will try to play the tournament at the same time as commenting, and while not playing, I'll be looking at other games. For Swedish language, you can follow our international master Linus Johansson on his Twitch channel, and that link can be found in the chat. I, and if you would like to join the tournament this last minute, just go into the link on our chess.com page, and that's also in the chat. Let's see, the favorite for today for the victory of the tournament is of course our own highest rated grandmaster Nils Grandelius, even called Thor within the Vikings. We have some other players that are challenging for the win, and the biggest challenge will probably be Helgidam Ziska from the Faroe Islands. A very good player, also played the World Cup, as Nils did just a couple of weeks ago, where he lost to the winner Teimur Rajabov in the first round, 1.5-1/2. And it's been a little bit unlucky for Helgi the last 2 years because he lost to Rajabov 2 World Cups in a row. And other challengers, I would say Linus Johansson is always a dangerous player in bullet. We have also our own Swedish champion, Erik Blomqvist. And I can see in the field that there are a couple of other very interesting players that could challenge for the victory. The tournament starts any second, and let's see who I'm gonna play in the first round. This will generate pairings automatically, and if you have any questions, comments, or anything, just post in the chat and let us know. And there we go. That was the first move. And what am I gonna play? Let's play like this. My plan will be just to get the pieces out, maybe put the queen on b6, put some pressure on the queen side. These positions are always a little bit boring. I think his target is just to play fast and try to beat me on time. but I'm not gonna let him. I'm a little bit behind time-wise, but the position is solid and it's nice. It feels pleasant to play these kind of variations when you're black. Question is how I can attack the queen side, and that's gonna be hard to start with. I think he's just doing some moves here. The Danish feeder master. His name reminds about Donald Duck actually. My target will be to try to push e5 soon, maybe f5, jumping around with the knight to b3 sometimes. And he's also pushing in the center. Let's see, I might have to jump back. Just let him take. Maybe if I can take with the knight back. Let's make some exchanges and try to break in the center, because then the rook can come down to the second row. Okay, this was a bit tricky. If I get down to the last row. It's starting to be a little bit unpleasant because my pawn is so weak. And I have to protect the knight. But somehow I'll try to jump in with the knight on d3 and put some pressure on his side too. Now I'm in on the second row, so hopefully that can generate something. Try to collect the queenside pawns, but it seems to be a little bit drawish. It's not easy to win this as black, even if I'm probably a little bit better. My pawn is a little bit more dangerous than his, and I have a bishop that can join the game and is a bit dangerous. Question is if I can somehow make his pawn move. But the knights are always a little bit complicated, they threat everywhere. Just picking up some pawns. Now I'm threatening a check and taking. Let's see if I can move forward a little bit. If I can pick up this pawn, I'm happy. And then the other one too. I'm just gonna take it and win this, because now I can play faster. Now I have some time to watch out for any tricky mistakes. I can give him that pawn and just go and get my queen. Checkmate. So that was the first round against the Duck. Let's see if we have some other games in progress. This one looks really interesting. We have Dvinik. I'm not really sure who Dvinik is, but Linus is playing white, and he got a decent position with a dangerous knight jumping around, but it seems to be pretty drawish. Because if Linus start running with his king, the black king will just collect d3. And I think this looks pretty drawish. Do we have any other interesting games going on? We have Going Kronos, Grandmaster, playing Ludwig Karlsson. And they're down on almost no time left, and Ludwig got just a fork here. This was really devastating for white. Yeah, black had a really good knight jumping around, and first that pawn disappeared, and then the fork. Now just jumping over with the rook to the other side. This is a simple victory for black. He just have to push f4, and then the king will win on the king side. Because it's always very hard to coordinate the knight in these kind of positions. It's much easier to play with the rook. Let's see if we have some other fun games going on. Um, we have a victory for Nils. Von And is playing. I guess my game will also start soon. The Danish duck is not doing that good in the beginning, starting out with 2 losses. Let's see if we have some other interesting games here. Nils seems to be playing. He's white here and got a nice position. Playing around the bishop maybe to b3 or just keeping it on a4, putting pressure on the knight on d7. Then maybe knight to f4, threatening d5. Oh, that one also. Yeah, this is over. White is simply winning. Everything is falling apart. Bishop to b3 and f7 is also weak. So let's see if I'm gonna have a new game coming up soon. Aknok, Anton Frisk Kokum, a really solid player. I know him since many days ago. I'm not really sure who he is playing, Arvin 2005, but now it's threatening a mate. And white is better. Anton is having troubles here. He's losing his knight. And then he got some weaknesses on this side. White should maybe have played rook to e8 just to collect the pawn when he had the opportunity. Now it's a little bit more tricky if a4 comes and black starts running with the pawns. The question is how dangerous these pawns will be. Sometimes it's maybe just better to give up the bishop like he's doing here. But this is a draw. White could maybe push on time, but yeah, this should be a draw. Maybe if he can play e4. He should have played e4 when he had the opportunity. The king is not good placed in h3, but however they play, it should be a draw. Leutchen. He is a very dangerous player of the Faroe Islands, a young guy. I saw him winning the second highest group of the Faroe Championship this year. So I think he's about 13 years old, on the way up, about 2100 in Elo, and he might challenge the best here today. Let's go back to Anton. This game seems to go towards a draw. White 1. Here we have Martin Jogstad, one of my teammates from Lund, playing Linus. And this seems to be a victory for White, but they have to watch out a little bit. He's just down below 10 seconds on the clock. And there goes the first pawn. Linus is a bit tricky. So now White will try to get one pawn on each side, and then Black can't collect everything. Maybe even giving up the knight soon. Just start running here. Down and then up here. This might be a draw also. Because Black will give up his knight for this pawn. And then the king will collect the other one. So this seems to go towards a draw. Linus managed to trick Martin for a pawn, and that's it. Let's go over to Nils. Yeah, Nils is going to collect this rook, and then he's a piece up. So this is a pretty easy win, or should be. Oh, it seems like I missed a couple of games here. I need to push a button to play the next game. So I'm gonna try to play a few quick games just to get back into the tournament. I'm gonna try to put the rook to c7 if possible somehow. But it's pretty equal here. Let's see if it's possible to create something on the king side. Maybe after h5 playing g4 and putting some pressure. I have a nice square on g4 for the queen, so yeah, it's nice to attack. And when playing with really short time, then it's always better to attack than defend. So I have this f6 weakness I'm gonna try to use as good as possible. But it seems like there is a trade, and then maybe try to play b5, go and collect that one. But it's hard to create something here. Let's see. Can I use some kind of trick somewhere? Should I give the a3 pawn or not? Maybe just breaking in the center because the black king is a little bit weaker than the white one. I got my white square bishop. And try to threat a little bit at least. If I get the opportunity jumping in with the knight. Let's see if this one works. Because after knight d6 I will threat both the bishop and rook. And if he takes my bishop on g2 I can take the rook on c8 before. And then go back. So I've lost some time here. I missed to push the button to play. Getting an exchange here for free, so I have to be grateful. Let's go for the next match. Going Kronos, a very dangerous player. It's a grandmaster from south of Sweden, and I'm just gonna play safe here. It seems like he's not having his best day. I think I lost 2 rounds, or missed out on 2 rounds, and got to play him anyway. Now this black square diagonal is looking nice, so I'm just gonna try to break the lines here. And I have a nice bishop on f5 and another one on g7. I'm gonna try to use both bishops. Putting some pressure on the rook on a1. Let's see. It's always good to manage to exchange the bishop around the king. So now I'm blocking his knight and then maybe playing queen to d5 and putting the rooks on c and d8. So this idea might work. But if I play queen d5, he can take on c5 and then take my bishop and the knight will be hanging. So I'm gonna protect c5 and a knight eventually coming to c5. And of course this knight will be strong if getting into the center. Now I'm free to play the queen to d5 and put some pressure on the both white squares, maybe even the d file, and this starting to look a little bit interesting. I have the opportunity to jump in with the knight here. Let's do so. If we change the queen, there are no checks with the knight, so he can take my queen, so that's fine. And now it's time to try to get a pawn. I have more active pieces here. I think so, at least. So now it's time to use the activity and try to grab a pawn if possible. Maybe even go all the way down to the second row and put some pressure on this f2 pawn. Just try to block his rook. And then start chasing the pawns. He can probably take my rook, and then I'll take his. We'll see how strong these pawns actually are. If I manage to grab one of them at least. Bring the king over to the action. I have to chase his knight away to bring my own knight back to the game. So I think this square on d5 is not that dangerous because I'm a pawn up and I'm just gonna bring over the knight. He got weaknesses on the king side while my king can protect the pawn a little bit better. And I should maybe even try to get the passed pawn over here somehow. That was maybe not good. I'm gonna lose this one. Well, that's a pity. This might end up in a draw. Hmm, going there, check. I have to go down. He can't take any pawn yet, but he can bring his king. That's a risk I'm gonna take. Try to run with my own pawn. It's maybe a little bit optimistic, but yeah, I have to try to win this game. Yeah, I was a little bit too optimistic. So now going from a pretty simple victory to a lost game, that's not that fun. But if I'm lucky, this might end up with a draw still. That's lost. Let's go for a new one. That was a sad loss. Should maybe have stayed with the commenting instead. In this position I'm gonna try to put some pressure on the c file. That looks nice. The c6 pawn is weak. His knight is a little bit offside, so I'm just gonna try to put a quick attack on c6. Maybe play b3 later. I have a nice square on c5 for the knight. And this looks like a pleasant position. I don't think he should play knight to h5. He should simply just push e5 and try to take on d4 earlier. So now he gave me the pawn. There are maybe some attacks on the knight, but that should be fine. Let's go back. Pawn up. I have a square on c5 that I'm gonna try to use, if possible, getting the rook back in. That one was hanging. I'm still pretty happy about the position, even if I made a mistake and gave him the B pawn, because this knight on c5 is much better than his on h5. I have to try to use that the best possible way. Let's bring the pieces in. It's always good to have a rook on the second or seventh row, just to put some pressure. Now the next piece coming in is the queen. I have to find the best possible way to bring her in. Let's see. But I don't want to give him a pawn. I'm gonna do like this and take with the knight if he takes. And then I'm gonna play against his knight on h5. So it's a slow play, but hopefully it's gonna be great. If we look in the top of the tournament, it's Helgi Dam Ziska from the Faroe Islands going for the win. He is currently in the lead. Erik Blomqvist, Christopher Lisseng and Nils Grandelius are also in the top, chasing Helgi. I lost some time there, didn't play 3 rounds, so that break where I thought I'm gonna automatically gonna play somebody, that is not good, because I lost a lot of time, and that's maybe gonna affect the tournament big time, because playing 3 rounds is like winning 5-6 points or something like that. So he don't have a proper mate, so I'm gonna go and mate him. After a check, I'm gonna play king to g1 and bishop to f1, and I'm safe, and he can't protect his own king. So hopefully I'm slowly gonna climb back. We have another hour to go, so it's long way still. It's possible to follow each player individually also, going in via chess.com, and simply just follow the player. It's possible to find all the players in different, like just going clicking on their name, and there is a follow button where the games will pop up. In this game I'm gonna play against the d5 square and the b7. So let's see if it's possible to grab a pawn somehow. In when it's short time, it's not easy to sit down and think properly, and it's usually giving many points just through small sneaky threats. So in this case, just jumping in with the knight, maybe going to c6, putting pressure on the white squares. The d5 pawn is still pretty weak. If I manage to get my queen into c6, it's gonna be even weaker. But if I go to c6, he might just put this queen on e5. Now I have a knight on c3 protecting the queen. So this should be fine. And he'll have some problems with the d5 pawn. You got to find out what to do with it, because if you just want to exchange queens for the moment, I can just change and take the pawn. So now I'm gonna go back. Keep the threat on d5. Oh, he's giving me a bishop. Sure, I can take it. Let's see. This break is maybe better, just to free the bishop, so I can play bishop to g5 next. And my worst piece on c1 is now out. Managed to exchange it, and I have the center for the pawns. Piece up. This should be winning. He is trying to create something here on the king side. I'm gonna put my pawns in the black squares just to make his bishop less efficient and make my own bishop strong. So let's make a check, take the pawn, and the next step is to bring the last rook into the game. So there are no proper threats, and I want to bring my knight back to the game, so I'm just gonna play knight to g1, bring it up to g5, and then I have a white square bishop on e4, so this looks nice. I'm actually a little bit amazed that he haven't given up yet. And if you have any questions or comments about the tournament, simply send a message in the chat to us. It seems like he's keen on sacrificing, so I'm gonna put my knight on h3 just to protect some extra on f4. That was probably his last chance to double sacrifice the rooks and then put the queen on g3, put some pressure. But I'm not gonna give him any chances at all. I'm just gonna put my queen back to g5, if possible. Try to exchange as much as possible. Bringing the rook to e8. Being a boring guy, but I'm a piece up, and I just want to win as easy as possible. There shouldn't be any complications here. Or maybe even giving a check to start with. Oh, okay. Let's see if I can mate him. I got the check here and then mate on h8. Let's see, what are we gonna play? Maybe Greenfield this time. And as you know, it's still possible to follow the other games. For example, we have here Martin Jugstad playing white against the expert. The expert is Helgedam Ziska, currently in the lead. I have to go back and play my own game, at least a couple of moves. This was nice. Now I have a really strong black square bishop here. And I'm not gonna take that knight. I'm gonna go and collect the bishop on c4. That was a big mistake by the pawn der cover. It's pawn undercover, probably. Now I'm piece up, so I can go back, start exchanging pieces. Maybe playing e5 soon. Exchange as much as possible, making some pre-moves. Question is, should I start collecting more pawns and create problems for myself, or just be happy? You shouldn't be too greedy either. Sometimes it's just enough. Having a piece, now maybe just trying to play on the g3 bishop, creating some attack against the king, because I covered the other side for the moment. Also, the e5 pawn is covered. Now he wanna change queens. Well, I can start by taking the pawn, I think. And if we wanna change... Oh, now he's changing bishops instead. There's some pressure on f2. I can bring the other rook to f8 and play in the f file. That looks interesting. Let's see. I have to protect the pawn on g6. Maybe playing the bishop to h3 now because the queen is covering. Or maybe just start with king h7 and then there's a lot of opportunities for black to start the attack. Because I should just watch out for not giving away some pawns here. Oh, I can take a rook. If I can take a rook, I'm gonna take a rook. So, how are we doing so far? Nils is up in the shared lead. Oh, I'm playing Eric Blomqvist. So that means that I'm a little bit higher up than I was expecting. I want to play rook b1 and b4. That's usually a nice idea. Easy and nice. Maybe even d4. Well, well, well. I'm gonna take it. This is pretty equal. Just have to watch out for like rook d8 and pressure on the d file. But I can play bishop to e3, then I cover the queen with both rooks. And there shouldn't be any problems. Exchanging queens and the bishop is alright for me because it feels like I had some more activity, but now he's getting a free move. So this is starting to look dangerous now. After bishop to e4, I would probably just play knight to e5. I'm covering the c5 square now. It's gonna be fight on the c file. Have to watch out a little bit. Um, Maybe something like this. I'm gonna try to threat e4 ideas. Maybe changing the rook and playing e4. That's usually nice. Now it might also work. Playing e4, e5 quickly. Let's see, it might work. Just to put some pressure. But at the same time, I have to watch out so I'm not pawn down over here. Um, Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. But hopefully I'm not gonna lose like I lost to the last Grandmaster due to too optimistic play. That time I was simply a pawn up, had a good position and left the most important side of the board with my king. So that's something I should try to avoid for next time. This time it looks also pretty drawish. Let's see, if he takes my pawn, I might get my rook in. That was simply a blunder, giving away the e5 pawn. Now I'm down on 6 seconds. And a couple pawns down. This is not good. And now it's lost. I'm gonna resign this. Start next. In the top of the tournament we have Nils taking the command now. He's the Swedish #1 and the favorite to win this tournament. I don't want to change too much. That was maybe bad, I should have played with the b pawn instead. But this time the bishop looks pretty trapped. Let's go and try and connect that bishop. If he takes my rook, and I take with the king, then he got to check. But I'm gonna take his bishop first. Then there's no check and I can pick up this bishop with the queen. Or maybe also exchanging queens. No, I wanna keep pieces. Now I have pressure on the a2 pawn. This bishop is coming to e6. Sometimes if I'm lucky I can get in like knight c4 here and take on b2. So this is a nice position. Play on two sides of the board and let's see what we can do here. He likes to change queens. That's not fun. But let's get the tempo out of it. And at the same time keep the pressure on a2. This knight from e5 is coming to c4. Or maybe the other side. I'm gonna go here instead. I'm gonna try to simply take a pawn. Maybe playing h5, h4. Use a extra pawn on the king side. Have more pieces. He can't do so much on the queen side. He's a little bit stuck. Now there's a threat with knight c4 also. I'm not gonna take that one. I don't need to bother maybe. Or he gives me a pawn. Why shouldn't I take it? Let's take it. There's no check on h8. I can even maybe put my king on a safe square. Next step is maybe changing the knight or trying to jump into c4. Like mentioned before, we have more streamers for the moment. Linus Johansson, our international master, is running his channel, so everybody are welcome to watch that. This game is going towards victory. I'm just gonna start running with my pawns. He's still a little bit stuck on the queen side here. Not that much happening. His pawns are a bit slower. Bring the king. And now the pawn is walking. Maybe even go and trap the rook. Oh, that was maybe bad. I just gave away this bishop, which I shouldn't. But I should maybe just have been running with the other one. So, going back to the standings. I'm gonna play my bishop d7 Sicilian. Let's go back to the standings where Nils is number 1 with 33 points. As number 2 we have Christopher Lisseng, and then the expert, that's Helgidam Ziska. So that's the current top 3. I'm all the way down as number 10. That's not so impressive. If he takes my knight, I'm gonna take his bishop. So if you don't take my knight, I'm gonna play the knight to d5 and just try to close the d file so I'm not gonna get mate on d8. So let's see, this looks a bit interesting, or maybe just grabbing the pawn. Maybe grabbing the pawn can be dangerous. So let's try to do like this. Open up the c file for the rook, and having some options for the future, maybe even playing the black square bishop to b4 or a3. Sacrificing the bishop on a3 is not always bad if the position opens up. So I have a bishop on d5. Now this looks really interesting. I should maybe just sacrifice. Yeah, I have to. When these positions come up, you just have to take the chance. It looks too good to be true. The king will be running around. You get at least 3 pawns. These two will be running quickly. A very active rook. And this bishop is amazing on d5, covering everything. So This just must be good. Now the question is which pawn to take. Shall I start with this one, maybe? Yeah. Then the rook can get active also. That's gonna be 4 pawns. My opponent Leuchen is getting down on short time also. That's also positive. Question is how to best use this. Maybe take here and just simply castle. Bring the other rook. I have to watch out for him not sacrificing on h6 instead. That could be devastating. Let's see where he's gonna go with his king. The g2 pawn is also falling. But if I take the g2 one, it might be dangerous. So opening up the g file, that's not to recommend. Oh, he gave me bishop. Mr. Big. Oh, he's trying to give me a pawn immediately. I'm gonna take it. If you get something, you should just take it. That's something good. Now I'm simply a pawn up here. Um, the problem is only the castling. But I could maybe play with g6 and put the bishop on g7. And then castle. So simply pawn up, having the d file to play on. Um, just putting some pressure so he can't move his knight. Maybe in the future playing the bishop out somewhere. Let's exchange some more, put the bishop on b7, and then after bishop b7 I have a nice threat with knight to d4. So there might be a mate on g2 soon. That's at least what I hope for. Nice ending with the pawn up. The pawn on c3 is also very weak. And the question is if I should just go and collect it or just exchange first. Let's exchange, because there is a mate on the bottom file. So you can never play like rook to e7 the coming moves. After rook e7, take the bishop, he takes my bishop, I take on c3. He got to... oh, he did it. So after exchanging bishops, I'm gonna take the pawn, and then I have 2 pawns up. So I'm simply just gonna start moving the pawns. Pawns and the rook, that's a good combination. Or maybe go and connect the other ones. think he should give up, but you don't agree. So I'm gonna keep his king on the other side, not letting the king back in and just moving these 2 pawns. That looks pretty effective. And he can't stop the pawns and the king. So let's go to the next game. Sharmwoods. I'm gonna play like this. If he takes my bishop, I'm just gonna take back with the pawn. And have a more stable and good center. So we're more than half the way through the tournament. And let's check who's in the lead. We have Christopher Lisseng getting up, fighting with Nils Grandelius and Helgi Ziska. Eric Blomqvist is also in the top, but he's just a little bit behind. So those 4 players have been in the top in general the whole tournament. And let's see if I can challenge them. I lost 3 rounds due to commenting and not clicking on the next game. So I missed out on a couple of chances. For the moment, I'm getting back into the tournament. I'm number 7, but still something like 10 to 15 points behind the top. So to be able to reach the top, I'll have to win in general all the games. And that's probably not gonna be easy. Among the players to play, there's gonna be both Nils and Helgi left. There's another player named Mare Kuba doing really great. He's rated about 1600, which I don't believe is the correct rating, and he's up on the 5th place for the moment. We can... Oh, let's see, I have to make a move here. Let's move the knight. Because I have the rook on e8 now, protecting e7. So the knight is free to jump around. And the question is if I should play on the black squares. Put some extra pressure there. Something like the bishop into the center, playing c5. Yeah, I can do like this. And then the question is where to put this knight. I'm gonna go back. That was maybe not the best maneuver today. This bishop is a little bit stuck on d4, and it was dangerous if he could take and go back. I'm gonna try to play around the pieces a little bit. Have some squares for the bishop, putting the queen on the white squares instead. Maybe also trying to make some exchanges. because his bishop is getting a little bit offside for the moment. Oh, that was a huge mistake. This is not good. That was not good. Let's see if I can bring the queen back and somehow hustle him. Get a knight into d4 and see what happens. I got a little trick going on. The queen is hanging and the rook is hanging. So that's positive. Oh, he gave me the queen. So that hustle worked out, and now I'm gonna play Nils. Oh, this is gonna be a very interesting game here. Is Nils number one? Yeah, for the moment Nils is the leader of the tournament with Helgi Dam Ziska in the top. And I could destroy the day here for Nils. But he's really pushing, and it's starting to look a little bit dangerous here. Let's see if I can bring the bishop out maybe. So my plan here should probably be to somehow protect the knight on c3 and try to push b4, d4. Get the center as quick as possible. Move the queen out of the pin. Now I can maybe even try pushing. Maybe protect the pawn first. Nils is going for it. Attacking my knight. If he goes back to h3, I'm probably gonna just play the rook up. I have to try to create some counterplay on this side. And he castles long, so this might be my opportunity. I just have to open up a bit and see if I can get some tricky hustles in there. Now that diagonal is open, where is the right square? Maybe this is the right square. Oh, did I miss something? Nils just gave me the queen. Shall I give him the queen back? What do you think? Send in the chat what you think. I'm gonna sacrifice one rook at least. I'm not sure, I don't think everybody can join the tournament anymore. You should have joined earlier. The last sign up was probably around 8 o'clock Swedish time or Central European time. So that is closed for the moment. We will have other tournaments coming up, and everybody will be welcome to play. Oh, Have I made some big mistakes here? Do I have to give him this one? Oh, I missed that mate. That was not good. I have to be nice to the best player of our team. If I wouldn't be nice, who knows? He might be angry. Now Nils is back in the lead with Helgi, while I dropped the spot. And it seems like Anton's been watching that game. He's playing exactly the same way as Nils did. Am I gonna be mated if I take this one? Hopefully not. But this looks a little bit dangerous now when the H file is open. I shouldn't maybe have played like that, but it's alright. Threatening to get in with the bishop and put more pressure on f2. That could be dangerous and lead to a checkmate actually. But I'm gonna attack. If he plays the bishop in, I'm gonna play the knight to e4 and cover that square. And then he got to find another square for the bishop. This way, it's maybe dangerous to open up too much. Let's see if I can put one bishop on the b file. Like, just covering the black squares and making the life a little bit more difficult for this knight. Now I have the e file and the bishop is having the black squares, so the next step is probably just to play f4. At the same time I have to watch out for moves like the queen to b6 check. And for example, if I play f4, queen b6 check, queen to d4, knight check on f3, I can take with the knight, he will take with the bishop, and I'll have that rook too. So it might be a really nice sacrifice going for this, queen sacrifice. So after queen b6 check, I'm gonna play queen to d4 and give away the queen. Or I can also play bishop d4. And when he checks on f3, I can take with the knight simply. And if he takes my knight first, I can take with the g-pawn. So yeah, this is simply a piece up. Nice position, piece up. He got to exchange queens also because I have a threat on the rook. I would not like to play this as black. It's not that fun. The next step is maybe just to exchange some more or even go and collect that bishop. So I'm gonna take the rook first and then go and try to collect the bishop. And at the same time I have the e-file entering with the rook. So now I'm two pieces up. And Anton, he's still fighting. It must be due to the clock. I have not that much time left on the clock, so he's gonna try to do something. Maybe bringing the rook over to the open c file. Now the a file is also open. So I have the opportunity to choose which file to go for. Okay, now I'm down on 7 seconds and my mouse is not working that good. So let's see if I can manage to win this, even if it's completely over. It's not easy due to the time. Okay, that was nice. I think I played the Charmwoods once. Let's see if he does better this time. Uh, we have only 15 minutes left to go, and we can see that Nils is taking the lead with Helgi and Eric Blomqvist in the top. Christopher Lisseng is still there, but a little bit behind. It's been a nice tournament so far. 40 players joining. Question is if it's good for me to exchange a bit or if I should try to push g4. I'm gonna play safe. I'm just gonna exchange the queens. Put this rook on the c or d file. He might take and play bishop c4, but I can just get out of the pin. Okay, this was unexpected. So let's see if I can do something with this white square bishop. If he plays, for example, f5, I just want him to choose where to put this bishop and then try to enter with the rook. For the moment I'm simply a pawn down and I'm worse. Let's see if I can jump around to b4 and maybe to d5. But yeah, I would prefer black here. Oh, did I blunder that too? Did I blunder that one? The plan is to take either on h6 or try to bring the knight. So I'm gonna start with h6. Sometimes it would be nice to take on a6 maybe, and two bishops against the rook and knight. It could be interesting in these kind of positions, because it's not that easy for black to get some proper play. I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna take the bishop, I think. Or should I try to bring the knight to a more active square, then play the other bishop out to b4, putting pressure on e7? Because we're down on very little amount of time, then it's always nice with the knight. The knight can be very dangerous and create a lot of problems for the opponent. Like if I would play the bishop to b4, he got the knight to c2. Okay, now we're down on little time. Let's see if I can create something, or if I'm just gonna lose on time. The position is not that nice either, actually. I'm gonna try to chase for a pawn or some counterplay, but it's not that easy. Now the counterplay might be a checkmate, but there are no checkmates. I'm in trouble. Okay, this is over. Let's go for the next game. Nils is taking a significant lead for the moment in the tournament. Oh, I'm gonna play a Danish Viking this time. And it's probably something like 2 rounds left to go. Only 10 minutes. I'm gonna try to put a knight on e5. So taking away his black square bishop enables that, and now the next step would be just to jump around with the other one. And the white square bishop is no good. So I might even take his knight soon with the bishop, because my white square bishop is not the preferred piece. In these kind of positions, it's always pleasant to play with the knight against the white square bishop. So let's see if it's possible to open up a file or something here. Maybe grab a pawn. Then there's a really nice square for the knight. So Can I take that pawn? It would be nice to bring a rook to c7 here. And I think that's possible. I don't want to give away the pawn on a5 if I don't have to. And when entering with the rooks here, after that I would like to exchange the black square bishop. Just to create some weaknesses around the king. The question is, what is the best way of attacking f7? If I play, for example, bishop d6, he can just go and exchange my rook. And there's not that much. So I'm gonna try to create something, push some pawns around the king. He's gonna remove my rook on the c or the 7th rank anyway. So at least I got the pawn down to the closer to the king. Maybe there's an opportunity to create a proper attack here. When he takes my rook, I can play bishop to h6 and somehow try to bring another piece. For the moment I just gave away, is it 2 pawns for nothing? But if I manage to get at least the bishop involved, putting pressure on f7, then the next step is to bring the rook via e1 to e5 and up to g5. And that should be enough to create the checkmate. Leichen want to bring his queen to g6, so I have to avoid the queen there. Starting by taking the pawn. And the next step would be to try to bring the rook somehow. And the question is, if he plays queen to f5, I could exchange maybe, if I have an active rook. Because it will be hard to avoid the queen coming here. I should maybe have played g4 to start with and then bringing the rook. But I'm not sure if that would be enough. Yeah, I should probably have played g4. Just to take away the f5 square. But yeah. Going back with the queen, he can play f6. I don't want that. I'm gonna try to enter with the rook. Have a more active piece and just at least grab the pawn back. Keep the pressure on the f pawn, the d pawn, because the nice part with this position for white is that I don't have any proper weaknesses. I have my pawns on all the dark squares, and I can just jump around and chase a little bit, try to put my bishop on a better square, uh, and try to enter with the rook somehow. We're down on not that much time, so I think it's harder for black to play here. So now I'm in and I'm managed to grab one pawn to start with. Maybe even playing rook to b6 and just going down with the pawn if he exchanges. Oh, now he gave me the rook, so that's nice. This will probably be the last round coming up, and Let's see how it goes. Probably need to play e5 sometimes. I'm gonna do it immediately. He got a nice knight. Hopefully he's gonna take the black square bishop, because that's my worst piece. I don't like that one. And if we manage to exchange all pieces, it should be fine. Hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna let him take and try to push f5 quickly. If you don't wanna take, I'm gonna go back and try to push f5. I have the bishop pair. Can always protect the pawn, even if I probably don't want to right now. I play this. The c4 is sometimes hanging. That was not good. I have to try to hustle somehow on the king side now. It was just a pure pawn down. Yeah, I still got some chances. Hopefully the game will open up a little bit so my bishops become much stronger. I think that was, yeah, the final sound, and so this means this is gonna be the last game, and I just gave him a bishop. So this was not a good finish. I have to at least try to keep the queens and create some hustle around his king, but for the moment this don't look that good. Oh, I should have taken that one. Oh, that was a huge mistake. So the final standings are that Nils Grandelius managed to win, and on the second place we have Helgidam, Ziska, and the third is Mare Cuba. Mare Cuba with 1600. That's actually a little bit funny. The question is who this Mare Cuba is. Now I have some comments in the chat here, and someone's talking about the Dragon Slayer. Yeah, once upon a time I was called the Dragon Slayer, but that was many, many years ago. And it's not that fun to play the Dragon variation anymore. Let's try to go through some games. Start with we have the top three on the picture here. Number 1 Nils Grandelius, number 2 Helgi Dam Ziska, and number 3 is Marek Cuba. That's actually one guy I don't know. Uh, Eric Blomqvist ended up on the 4th place and Christopher Lisseng on the 5th. So we have a Grandmaster, International Master and other top players ending up all the way behind the top 10. One of the final games that we can go through is Martin Jugstad here against Helgi Dam Ziska. I'm not sure if this game managed to finish. It seems like Black won. This is one of Helgi's absolute favorite openings. He knows this very well. And he likes to play tactical chess. So in this case, the knight is probably coming here soon. The bishop on f3 is not looking that good. They're just exchanging. We have this threat. This knight might even sneak in or go back, put pressure on e4. So Helgi is playing against the dark squares here. And this bishop don't look that good on f3. So going further a couple of moves. Sure, Martin is playing good. He is trying to take the center and maybe push here, create something. But at the same time, let's see what Helgi will do here. Maybe this push is too early. Martin should probably try to play on the d file against the weak d6 pawn. Because everything is safe around the king here. These knights on e6 and f6, they can't do that much. So I think rook to d1 would be a better move. Then maybe playing the rook to f2 and going for the d file. Let's see what happens. Looking at the times, Martin had only 8 seconds against Helgi's 30, so I can understand him that he was pushing maybe a little bit too much. If he would have plenty of time, it would probably be easier to play. And this is always a hard ending. It should probably be a draw, but playing against a knight with 3 seconds on the clock, that's not the easiest to do. Let's move forward. Helgi won a pawn, and yeah, he's probably moving over the king to better more active square, and then this pawn will start moving. Yeah, now he got the king over here. The pawn is coming also. The rook is covering pretty good. Should probably just give away this one and go that way. Because black is much faster with this pawn than what white will create over here. Now this should probably be a draw. Instead of giving the check, he should probably just play the rook over here, go and collect this pawn. After losing this one, the king should just go down. And black can't protect this one. So it should have been a draw. But instead Martin took, and this is just losing. We had a grandmaster meeting in the last round also. Going Kronos against Eric Blomqvist. So let's see here. I know Going Kronos pretty well, and he's a safe player. He don't want to take risks, so it was up to Eric to create something, and he was fighting for the top spot and managed to get 4th place. And when looking at this game, uh, black plays a5 just to open up the a file here, and it's always easy to cover this pawn. You can cover it with the knight, you can cover it with the queen, and it's not that easy for white to remove it. And for example, if taking and the pawn takes, this knight will have less squares, while black will keep the pressure on a file. So let's see what happens. Black is giving away one pawn just to take a better center, so this pawn might go a little bit further down and take control over the board. The c5 pawn for white is always weak, so black will always get it back. We can continue a little bit further. The only thing black got to look out for is that this bishop don't get trapped. But when playing the queen to e7, then he can always take here. These 3 pawns for white will not be that strong later. The structure is not the optimal one. So Eric is taking the center. If he managed to play e4, this bishop will be weak, while the strong bishop on e6 might dominate the board. And white got to try to push here, but it's not that easy. It cost him a couple of moves, and black managed to take a better control over the center. And in this case, the c4 pawn will become weak when playing the b pawn. Oh, this was maybe a really nice tactic. After h3, taking, king takes, and then e3 check. Where is the king moving? Because if the king goes back, the queen might even take on g3 soon. And this looks over. Black is simply much better. But this is maybe not that easy. I think Eric might have made a mistake here. Because this ending might end up in a draw. For if he goes and collects the A pawn, he will lose the D pawn. And it's not that easy to win with these three pawns over here. Against these two. Let's see what happens. They're probably in a huge time trouble here. And going Kronos might have went wrong. Okay, now the king is entering. This pawn is going. He should maybe even made a check, because if he managed to get two pawns over here on G and H file alone against the E pawn, then it's always winning. Okay, this is the last mistake of going Kronos. He's taking this one. He probably shouldn't do that. Maybe also playing H4 is the correct way. Or if not H4, then maybe just playing the rook to E6 to cover this pawn and then go with the king and collect here. But yeah, it's a time trouble. They probably were down in their last seconds, and now black is just winning. Let's take a look at Nils' last match against Hugo. I would guess his name is Hugo, but I'm not really sure which Hugo it is. And it looks like they didn't get that far with this game. We can see here it's a standard Sicilian. Nils is trying to play the little bit more aggressive variations. Oh, you got a couple of pieces here. Okay, this castling was not the best move of Hugo. He simply blundered. For example, if he takes the knight, the bishop goes back, and he loses the queen. So that was a huge mistake. Nils is just picking up some pieces, and he's just a piece up. But it seems like... Okay, Hugo gave up here. Yeah, black is just developing and having a knight more, so there's not much more to do than simply resign. Well, it seems like this was all for today. We're ending with the victory of Nils in the last round against Hugo. Uh, we can go back to the final results. one more time. After this victory in the last round, Nils won the whole tournament with 66 points. We had Helgidam Ziska at second place with 54, and Marek Juba actually on the third, before Eric Blomqvist. So congratulations to Marek Juba that managed to grab a medal, and thank you for following us today. See you next time, and good night.